I'm David Mason, the Director of Public Health for the town of Sandwich, and we're doing PSA number 18. And as always, we will start with Chief Burke for an update on our status with coronavirus.
Morning, Dave. Thank you. As of Monday, May 18th, we have 7 positive cases, 69 recoveries, 3 deaths, no hospitalizations. Out of the 7 cases, 80% of those are healthcare workers. So we're still seeing that trend of healthcare spread, but the numbers in the community are coming down, so that's all positive. Quick update on DPW operations. Resuming somewhat normal ops as of Wednesday. The spaces will be open again, which is good news. The marina is operational, the golf course is operational, and our facilities department is operational, which, as we classified, our phase 1 is now up and running, and that's a positive sign.
So we'll give a shout out to our town administrator, George Dunham, for the chart behind us. He puts those numbers together every day. It's a chart that's very useful. We were just talking about it prior to the start of this, and it's something really all towns should be utilizing to show the active cases versus the recovered cases, and it's very helpful to see what's going on in the town. As far as just for the public's awareness, hot meal program, the Cape Cod Culinary Collaborative will be providing hot meals 4 to 6 p.m. on Election Day, so at the high school. And also there's been discussions about an update on the restaurant seating flexibility. Do you want to speak to that?
Yep, so we're close to pulling the trigger on that. The issue is waiting, obviously, for the governor's guidance, but the town feels very strongly about where we positioned ourselves with the restaurant owners in town to be able to provide a solid plan. It mirrors the site plan review process and also the annual liquor license application. So it's good news for our restaurants. We want to see them succeed and recover, and other communities are following suit with this, but I think it's going to be a good thing for the restaurants in town.
So again, we're waiting on the governor to set those guidances for that. That information will be sent out by Kathy Cogshell through the Selectman's office. She handles the liquor licenses also. And as Chief Burke mentioned, it mimics the application for that process. So you'll be seeing something on that as soon as we know from the governor. And tomorrow is Election Day. And today we have with us, again, Taylor White, the town clerk, to provide us an update of what's occurring for elections. And the intent being, so for those of you attending tomorrow, that how it's been set up so that you feel safe in attending for voting tomorrow. So Taylor, what can you tell us about what's going on?
All right, thanks, Dave. I'm going to give a gist of what we've done so far and what people can expect tomorrow, as you said. So far, we've processed roughly about 2,000 ballots for the special state election, and we've processed just over 1,000 ballots for the municipal election. So based on history, uncontested races besides the planning board race on the town's election, we're probably about in the 50 to 60+% range of people who typically vote in those elections. The special election is kind of the wild card. We've already, I said, processed 2,000 of those ballots. I'm going to say we're probably, again, in maybe the 50-60% range. So we're expecting several thousand people to show up tomorrow, May 19th on Election Day. If you're watching this today, tomorrow is Election Day. If you're watching this tomorrow, today's Election Day. The polls are open Tuesday the 19th. They are open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. As many people have probably seen and heard, there has been a major undertaking as far as the procedures on Election Day and how we've handled that. We've worked with the health department, we've worked with facilities, we've worked with the fire department, we've worked with pretty much every department in town to come up with a plan that on Election Day, Tuesday, May 19th, people who have not opted already to have voted early can go to the polls in a safe manner and perform their civic duty, and also make sure that they're protected as well as the poll workers are protected in that case. So we are ready to go. If you're watching this today, again, polls open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Please get down there and cast your vote. just by way of procedures, so people know, when you mailed in your early voting ballot to my office, those ballots are going to be counted on Election Day through the process called a central tabulation facility. Basically, that's our Board of Registrars is able to open all those ballots and process them that day. So you are voting in absentia. You're voting that day. Your ballot is being processed that day. It's just not, you're just not physically there to do it, but you can have assurances that it's going to be counted by our Board of Registrars and our support staff in accordance with the law.
So just speaking of that, then, you're speaking to early voting as far as what's the demands on the staff in your office for early voting? Because how does that work? I mean, people just think, oh, I check off the boxes, stick a stamp on it, and I ship it through the mail, which we appreciate because we're trying to reduce the population voting on that day for social distancing. But what is the demand on your office?
Well, the process that is currently in place, per Mass General Law and election law, allows for early voting through the mail. The one issue, and you bring up the demand, we have been working, I mean, the goalposts have changed on this election. Originally it was March 31st, and now it's the 19th. We have been working for the last couple of months nonstop. Our office has been open the entire length of a normal work week, and then plus some for the last few months. The demands on the staff, it is very cumbersome. And I'm not complaining about doing our job, but it's just the way the system works. It's very data entry oriented. There's a lot of bureaucracy when it comes to, we need to receive the applications. We need to then mail the ballots to the voters, and then the voters need to mail those ballots and drop them back. And there's all kinds of little intricacies that happen during that process. A lot of piecemeal work. When people get their ballot in the mail, they'll notice that there's a mailing envelope, there's a ballot envelope, and then there is an envelope to mail that back. All of those need to be marked accordingly, handwritten on things, barcodes put on those, labels put on those. And if you can imagine that times thousands, the amount of work that it takes to do that. We are happy to do that. We want to make sure everyone stays safe and feels that if they can't go to the polls on Election Day, that option is available to them. Dave and I were talking earlier about possibility of this happening later on in the year. I can tell you that with the amount of staff that's in my office and us doing it nonstop for several months, if it were, and we have about 3,000 ballots, if we were to times that by the annual turnout for a presidential election, which would be in the 13 to 14,000 voter range, it's unsustainable under the current system. And this is something that the legislature is working on currently. My hope is that they would give us a way to process these a lot differently instead of having to do all this administrative work. It would be, but we're happy. We're caught up today. It is 10 o'clock right now. On Monday, the office is completely caught up, and we are ready to go on Tuesday. But it was definitely a trial to get to that point.
Very good. Yeah, it seems very labor intensive. So
Absolutely.
As far as it, and I wasn't going to put you on the spot about November at all.
That's all right.
Just to let you get through this one first, this election, because this election does lay the groundwork for November. And again, we're trying to, it's set up, and Taylor has set it up so that the public can see that it is safe and that they will feel safe. I know you put some videos on. What social media did you put it on?
We put two videos. One of the videos is a walkthrough of the Oak Ridge School, which is the exact mirror of the Forestdale School, and then we did a walkthrough of one of the precincts at the the Wing School. So the three voting locations in Sandwich are, there's precincts 1 and 2, which is at the Wing School, precincts 3 and 4, which is at the Oak Ridge School, and 5 and 6, which are at the Forestdale School. We put those videos on the town clerk's Facebook page. They've also been shared with different pages in the community. So I would recommend people take a look at those to see what they can expect. Dave helped with that on Friday. We basically have the ability to keep voters separate, keep them distant, and also keep them away from the election workers to the greatest extent possible, but give them a way where they can easily go exercise their right to vote and feel safe with it. There's tons of cleaning products available. Our facilities department has been great in getting those out, so they can actually come in, get their ballot, use hand sanitizer, vote. As normal elections go, a voter receives a ballot at the check-in table and then goes to the booth, and there's a voting pen at the booth. Voters can expect that there will be a box of marking devices at the check-in table that they will take with them, and it's an individual marking device that they will take with them. vote, use that to vote their ballot. At the end of, once they've checked out and they put their ballot onto the machine, they can either discard that marking device or take it with them. So that way, there's not a lot of handling of the same things.
Because typically it's you, when you go into the voting booth, there's a pen and everybody shares the pen.
Yeah, we're not sharing pens.
And we're not sharing pens. And in the voting booths, we have it set up as far as we're going to have Chief Burke, people in between sanitizing.
Yep, there'll be firefighters, one at each polling precinct doing decon. They're used to deconning everything the last couple months, and then this way it'll assure the public that things are being constantly sanitized and monitored.
Very good. So as you walk to the voting door, you will see that it's set up with markings on the ground with specific entry and exits, markings for 6-foot social distance. We'd ask that you just have patience and be cooperative with the process because it can work. And is there anything else we want to add?
No, but I would like to just publicly thank all the town departments. I think I've worked with pretty much everybody, including the golf department, for those marking devices we talked about. So just wanted to publicly thank the entire town for pulling together. It really has been a community effort to make sure that, it's kind of bad timing that we have to have this election in the middle of what we're doing, but we've done it according to all the rules and regulations, and I just really appreciate everyone pulling together and helping us out. We even have some town employees that are going to be sitting there at the check-in, check-out tables, volunteering to help out. We've had a lot of people from the community call and wanting to work the polls on election day. So it's been a great pleasure to work with everybody. So thank you for that.
No, it's good, Taylor, because you were very providing that leadership too with your signage and setting up and understanding the importance of making people feel comfortable when they come to vote. So thank you very much. Thank you, Chief Burke. So for today's PSA number 18, we'll conclude. And as always, remember and never forget to be courteous and be safe. Thank you.